Hi, this is Kevin from Controller.works, and this is a little overview of the Cirque trackpad controller, and specifically as it relates to mechanical keyboards. So this is a view of the Cirque trackpad. You can get it in a little housing like this, and what it is it's a touch controller, and people are starting to integrate them into keyboards. Now, I'm not totally unbiased in this because I'm a vendor. So, but this is what the trackpad looks like integrated in the keyboard. So we're starting to get this is a City 42 that's in prototype phase and soon to be released. So some people are asking like what to expect, like how can I do right clicks and things like that. We based the City 42 around this trackpad because I really liked it. I think it works really well. I'm really happy with it. However, this is not a one-to-one replacement for a large multi-touch trackpad like you might have on a premium laptop. Okay, so it's just important to keep that in mind. So the big difference, number one, is that this is not multi-touch. So the one that's in this model is 40 millimeters. So it's not that big. I mean, you can kind of barely fit two fingers on the surface of it. And it does support gestures, but those gestures are going to be single position gestures. So this is a little bit more a replacement for a track point like there were on IBM and now Lenovo laptops and or other kind of pointers like that, not really a multi-touch trackpad. All right, so here we are. So here's the keyboard. This is a split unibody design, so both halves are here. And normally on a laptop, most people are using their thumb for a trackpad, and that's not what this is designed for. This is designed for either index finger. So this is our normal typing mode, and you can, again, with the single touch, you can tap, and then you're placing it, and you can say, this is a typing test. This is really hard to do on camera. All right. So there's two main modes that this can be in. One is called a relative mode and the other is an absolute mode. Now, by default, the firmware comes in a relative mode. What that means is that as you keep sliding your finger in one direction, it will keep, in essence, pushing the pointer in that direction. So that's what's happening here. In the default setting, you're going about, you can push the cursor about halfway across the screen. This is with one slide across the sensor surface. This is a 4K monitor, so you kind of get an idea. It's on USB. It's very responsive. I think it's quite sensitive. Now, by default, there is a left click by tapping. Let's try that out. So I just selected. That's a left click. Now, right click is a little harder to access because what it's doing is it's looking for a tap in the upper right. So let's do a left click. Let's see if we can get, yeah, so there's our left click. It's a little hard to get it in the right spot, but there we go again. What I would actually recommend if you're really going to do a lot of mouse presses is to assign in VIA certain keys and certain layers to be mouse keys. So that's what I've done here. If you look on VIA, and we're gonna use it right now. So I have mouse buttons set on these three. So what I can do is just move over here, and then that's my mouse click. Now this is relevant because if you're used to a multi-touch mouse, like I am, I'm a multi-touch trackpad, what you'll end up doing is you'll instinctively try to click on the same surface, and that will not work. Okay, so when you get into things like moving, say moving a window, right? You need to do two things. You need to reposition with the mouse and hold down the mouse button, and that will not work with just the sensor. If you do it with the mouse keys, it's just fine. So we can select this, and we can right click, you can middle click. There are other gestures that are supported, but you can do scrolling. What I like to do is have the, I just like to have page up and page down as keys on the layers. So here's my page up and page down right here. So that's kind of how I like to do it. Let's go back and reauthorize this. So that should give you an idea, okay? So the responsiveness, I think, is really nice. It really feels high quality. This controller is mainly targeted at for use in game controllers, okay? Handheld game controllers. But the responsiveness is great. However, it's not multi-touch. So if you want to, if you were doing CAD, something like that, I don't know if I would use this for CAD. But if you're just accessing menus, I think it's great. But I personally would do it with mouse keys. Your single click, right click, middle click. That's my recommendation. And with VIA, you can do it how you like. Okay, there are some fancy things that you can do. You can make it switch layers while you're moving the mouse. You have to code that yourself in firmware. And right now, all the configuration, if you want to change how this is working right now, you have to build your own firmware. Okay, it is possible to put these menus in VIA, but I haven't done that yet. If you'd like to volunteer to help, that would be really appreciated. But for right now, if you want to change this behavior, you need to go in and rebuild your own firmware. There are very simple options in the configuration files, but you do have to build your own firmware. So that's it. This is an overview of the Cirque controller. This is actually the prototype of the City 42. So that's a Cirque controller. You can see it has its own processor in there. There is an ABS overlay on it. It does have a slight curve to it, but it's a very gentle curve. You can see it. Right here. So the thickness is not really that much. You can kind of see how it shines in the light. So it has that ABS overlay. I think the sensitivity is great. You can configure it single click, and then I'm recommending you do mouse keys with the with actual physical keys. All right, thanks a lot. Oh, if you have any questions, please stop by my Discord server. So I'm on there pretty much all the time. Thanks a lot.